I was quite surprised at what silver did today, based off of the latest news that is well timed based off of a report that I just did not long ago. But we're going to talk about silver's amazing move today and all the other precious metals, but platinum is especially noteworthy. We'll get into it and all of it as we explore. An exciting news day to some extent, with good news all around. And good news is usually bad news for precious metals, but they're all doing quite well today. Although if you are looking at the numbers like I am, there's one metal that is in the red. It is down, and notably down today, and that is silver. So what's so incredible about that? Silver's price has pulled back. Well, I'll tell you why here in a moment. Before so, I want to remind you of channel sponsor Summit Metals. During a dip like this, well, it might not be a bad time to pick up a little bit of silver, as most people are bullish on it, and I agree with a lot of that bullish sentiment to a degree. We'll get into that in a moment later, but Summit Metals is making a name for themselves, so check them out and experience their great customer service. So, with the market looking like it is now, in fact, gold is up 0.78%, up $26 today to $3,349.79. Silver is down 26 cents. So that's interesting. Gold up $26, silver down 26 cents. That's a 0.71% decrease. This has widened the gold to silver ratio to 92.51. Platinum was the big winner of the day, though. It was up 2.78%, up $34 today to $1,269. We are in a platinum bull run, folks. That is noteworthy. Finally, it has come. I have been bullish on platinum for so long, I was starting to get discouraged, but finally it's coming together. I knew it probably would take a matter of time, but nonetheless, I was getting discouraged there towards the end, and then boom, it started to pop out like this, and then it's all really based off of what's going on in China. There's a lot of demand for platinum in China and other places, and that is causing the price to go up. Palladium is also up as well. But what's going on? Why is silver down and the other metals up? Well, first, let's talk a little bit about how gold is going up after some of the latest data that's come from the Consumer Price Index. Gold prices rose, helped by cooler than expected U.S. inflation numbers, strengthening investor expectations that the Federal Reserve could start cutting interest rates by September. So that is what they're looking at. Cooler than expected, but the administration is kind of spinning it as well. It could have been worse based off the trade policies that are in effect right now, but we'll get into that in a moment. U.S. gold futures settled largely unchanged, but gold is up today. Data showed the Consumer Price Index increased 0.1% last month after rising 0.2% in April. Economists polled by Reuters had forecast the CPI climbing by 2.2% and increasing 2.5% year over year. The surprise low print in core CPI has goosed the entire precious metals complex higher as yields and the dollar fall, and the dollar is down today. The hope is that it will bring the Fed cut that much sooner, according to Tai Wong, an independent metals trader. Traders are currently pricing in a 68% chance of an interest rate cut by September, according to the CME Fed Watch tool. Now, trade, this is another thing that is interesting and why this news is kind of well timed based off of a video that I did just this morning. I'm going to link to it at the end screen of this video, so stay tuned for that. You're not going to want to miss that report because it's quite timely. Donald Trump said that a deal with China was done, with Beijing supplying magnets and rare earth mineral, while Washington would allow Chinese students at its colleges and universities. The market's focus is now on the U.S. Producer Price Index, which is due out tomorrow before the Fed's June 17th and 18th meeting. The market will want to see gold and silver take out recent highs as a signal to charge higher. If we don't rally strongly on surprisingly good data, then it may signal a short-term correction, according to Wong. with speculative and ETF demand has fueled platinum's rally, has seen it rise up pretty dramatically. A sustained breakout is unlikely due to price-sensitive Chinese demand, downside pressure on auto sector demand, and expected increase in global supply, according to Goldman Sachs. But I feel that it is possible. It is a fragile breakout, but it is indeed a breakout. Now, silver. What's going on with silver? It's been on this absolutely insane tear that we've talked about on this channel, hitting multi-year highs earlier this week before reality kicked in. And we can see that it is now down to below $36.35. It's $36.31 right now. And it's an important psychological level since it has touched its strongest price since February 2012. That's over a decade ago. The whole thing got started because of some big news on the trade front. Tuesday saw the high-level talks between U.S. and China wrap up in London, and I just did a video about what's going to happen if a trade deal comes, and I suspected that we'd see the prices fall even more. Now, there's a contingency to this trade deal with China, and that is the big one, by the way, because it is pending approval by Xi Jinping and Donald Trump. That's a pretty big, that's a pretty big step. That is, we're not at yet. Nonetheless, the announcement on Trump's Truth Social is a pretty big one, and he has full faith in Chinese negotiators and Scott Bessent, who operated on behalf of the administration in this. So I think that's why silver is going down, in part because of that, but it's not going down as much as I thought it would. So silver is holding on, and that's the amazing thing. That's the incredible thing about silver is it's staying resilient here. Now I know gold, platinum, and palladium going up has part of what is preventing silver's price from going down much more because of the CPI numbers. But still, we are seeing silver in a sense react as a commodity, but only in part in terms of its price movement. And so Trump was very excited about it. He said that we made real progress with China. It's about fairness, and we're close to something that could work for both countries. And he's not going to sign anything weak, which means there's more to go on this. Meanwhile, the Chinese vice premier, Le Fing, kept it classy but positive, basically saying both sides need to work towards stable and long-term trade and economic ties. And so, yeah, it's a provisional framework agreement is how it's being described. And so these two countries can't stop being at each other's throats all the time. So they've got to come to a conclusion and come sort of an agreement here, and this is a framework for that. But it's not a complete trade deal yet. So we're not out of the woods. But nonetheless, I'm kind of surprised still that silver didn't fall more than it did. And so what are the charts saying about silver? Is it screaming that it's overbought? Some say that is the case with the technical picture according to the tradable.com, because it's actually pretty straightforward. Silver managed to bust through the key resistance with the October 2012 high of $35.96, which was a huge deal. But then it hit a wall around $36.65 and couldn't keep the momentum going, forming what looks to be a short-term top at just under $37.49. That is the next big mountain that silver needs to climb if it wants to keep this party going. See, there's some resistance here, folks. People were saying it's all over now. It's going to $50 or $40 before the end of the year. Well, there's a lot of hurdles that's got to go through, and that's a big target. And it's a long way to $37.49, by the way. So that is kind of the number that they're looking at here. But if that were to break, then if we see the average sitting, the 10-day moving average sitting at $35.12, well, then we're seeing, looking at what could be, if we see it fall below that, in a defensive area between $35 and $34.87, which is where silver previously broke out and also lines up with some of the important Fibonacci levels with the technical analysis ratings here. The technical indicators are also flashing some warning signs, and so we see that pretty close to the overbought zone is where it is. It's right on the border of that, according to the RSI number, which is 67. So we'll see what happens. Now, the deal with silver, it's a little bit of a mixed bag. We have some positive things. We've got legitimate progress happening with the U.S.-China trade talks, which should be fantastic for industrial metals like silver. And maybe not immediately, but in the medium term, should see it pop up because of that. But silver prices have gotten pretty frothy after hitting these multi-year highs, and traders are clearly in take profits and run mode right now, especially when you got this overbought indicator with the RSI. So we just got to see who's going to win in this case. And then, of course, you got the big bullion banks, and if you believe that there's price suppression, well, you're going to see them come in and make a move, as we're just a day away from Friday, which is SmackDown Day. And I think if we're going to see that kind of profit taking, it's going to be then, and it very well could be brutal, which means that even though right now it's kind of holding firm and staying up and doing something pretty incredible, Friday is where we might see it fall to the 34 range. And if that happens, folks, do not lose heart. Do not lose hope, because $34 is a critical number. And I talked about that in a prior video as well, which I'll link to at the end screen as well. So there you have it. There's your market report for today. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section down below. Hope you found this video informative, insightful, and educational. Would like to extend a multitude of gratitude to each and every one of you for taking the time to watch, and encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.